of KHTS or its ownership.
Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I am Matt Watson, your host. It's good to have you in. Thank you for joining us. We've got a great show today, and we're actually going to kick it off quickly, a little bit quicker than normal. Our regular Tuesday guest, Mayor Smythe, is on the line and up against a hard out. So go ahead and post your questions now. If you've got questions for our Mayor Smythe, head on over to Facebook and click on the KHTS radio link on Facebook. Click on the live feed there and post your questions for the mayor. We're going to get to those in just a minute. So we've got, like I said, we've got a busy show. We've got a quick starting show for you today. We've also got Debbie Dole in the second hour from the Assistance League of Santa Clarita. She'll be, like I said, coming on during hour number 2. And, of course, we've got our good friend and official licensed marriage and family therapist, Christina Debre, who's going to be helping us work through these difficult times. So, again, go ahead and post those questions while I set this thing up. This special edition of Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers, is brought to you by KHTS in collaboration with SCVI and iLead Schools. We come to you live each day at 9 a.m., providing support and updates for you on your distance learning journey. And we're also continually curating and adding new resources to our website for you. Head on over to homeschoolinganswers.com for all of your distance learning resources, as well as parenting tips and tools, all kinds of resources for you. Head on over to homeschoolinganswers.com. And just one more thing before we get started with the mayor. To those of you at Central Park from Hart High School graduating right now, congratulations to you guys. Not what you expected coming into the school year, but today is your big day. Congratulations. We will touch more on that a little bit later in the show. Let's jump right to our first guest, Mayor Smythe. Mayor Smythe has dedicated his life to the service of the city of Santa Clarita. He's served our city council for the past 20 years, only interrupting that service for a term as our assemblyman in Sacramento. He's currently serving his 4th term as mayor, sworn in back in December. He took over a city reeling from several devastating fires and a community rocked by school violence that we could have never imagined would come to our town. Yet he chose to lead and took over, never knowing what would come under his leadership this year. Pandemic, near economic shutdown, uncertainty, and now some of the deepest civil unrest that our nation's ever seen. Mayor Smythe, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning.
It's good to have you back. As always, we've got a lot to talk about. So let's start with something, quite honestly, seems to be not quite as important today, but I know it's deeply important to so many of us in our community. A couple of weeks ago, you requested a variance from the County Board of Supervisors, and they in turn submitted that, forwarded that kind of to the governor. Governor Newsom came back just last Friday issuing that variance, allowing restaurant dining rooms to open, barbershops, hair salons, as well as, flea markets, swap meets, things like that. Drive-in movie theaters, should we ever get that Mustang Theater open back up. But all of those things were with restrictions. Have you spoken with our local business owners? Did that, at least over the weekend, I know things got shifted pretty radically toward the end of the weekend. Was that variance enough? Are we where we need to be as a community right now, at least economically?
No, I would argue that we're probably, not even close. While it was great that LA County, took up our charge, and something that started from a conversation between my wife and I, in the living room about pushing for a North County type variance that morphed into an LA County full countywide variance was great to see, but there are still limitations, and I know many business owners and restaurants in particular are weighing whether or not it's worth opening up under the limited provisions. You have challenges with staffing. Many of their servers went on unemployment and have chosen not to come back because they currently unemployment is paying more than what they would make going back to being a server, particularly at reduced capacity. The costs of supplies and provisions and utilities. So, I don't mean to minimize it by any means because allowing for the in-room dining was a big hurdle. Allowing for personal grooming services to reopen as well was important. But getting us into all through phase two was really the key point in all of this, so that as the governor continues to provide guidelines for phase three, gyms and fitness studios and lesser restrictions, it was important that LA County was ready to move into those phases along with the rest of the state.
Yeah. You mentioned some of those businesses that are finding it hard to reopen even though they're allowed to do so. I've spoken with restaurateurs that have smaller locales, and they're saying, if we're only allowed to seat every other booth, we're not going to be able to generate the revenue that we need in order to staff our restaurant and keep it safe and healthy. Is the city doing anything or preparing to do anything to help businesses adjust to things like that, maybe think a little bit creatively or provide some sort of other logistical support?
Yeah, I would say one of the few benefits of being later into the opening here in LA County allowed us to look at other cities, other counties, and how they were adapting and what was successful or not. And so one of the things that we're looking at doing is similar to what was happening in the city of Ventura, which was closing down our main street, which we do quite regularly for our census events and others that are part of our normal summer schedules. And so we have the blueprint to do that, and then allow the restaurants to expand into the street a little bit for their outdoor dining. And so that would increase their overall volume and their footprint while still maintaining that the complying with all the social distancing and requirements that are still in place. And so we're looking at how to do that. I know that this Friday there's already kind of a planned drive-through event that is already in place for the downtown Newhall area. So we'll let that run, and then hopefully we can get through these curfews and allow for the businesses to open up over the weekends. But that's obviously the newest hit that we got the great news on Friday, and then by Sunday at 4:30 everyone had to shut down at 6, and that's another hit to our businesses, particularly the restaurants that rely heavily on the dinner crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of folks were looking forward to that Sunday evening dinner that got cut off. Before we get into the curfews and the things going on a little bit further south of us right now, while this signifies a step forward for a lot of our businesses, there's still, you mentioned, plenty of businesses that haven't been able to reopen yet, spa services, nail salons, tattoo parlors, things like that. Do you have any indication when that might come?
So, the governor last week had said that he was going to release guidelines early this week for the next phase. And I think the biggest concern, the biggest business group now is the fitness industry. And that's not just your LA Fitness, your 24-hour fitness, your kind of your perceived what a fitness center looks like. But this also hits dance studios, gymnastics studios, martial arts, all of the small, not what you wouldn't consider traditional gyms. And I think there was a mistake made there by lumping all fitness industries into one group, because there is a lot of nuance and particularly here in Santa Clarita, there are a number of studios that are predominantly private trainers, 2 or 3 people at a time, where you could easily maintain your social distancing, keep the cleaning protocols in place,
Sure.
but they're not allowed to open because they're put under that same, they're put into the same phase as your kind of traditional corporate type gym. So the governor was is intended to release some guidelines around that, also around schools. I think the goal was to do that this week, but of course everything has changed since Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's get to that. With the tragic killing of George Floyd last week and the ensuing protests that have been quite chaotic, we've seen things get pretty out of hand the last few nights. What's your take on things? And then more importantly, Mayor Smythe, how prepared are we as a city for any eventuality?
So, start locally. On Saturday, there was a rally or protest on the corner of McBean and Valencia. There were several hundred participants. It was over almost completely peaceful. I shouldn't say almost; it was completely peaceful.
Right.
There were no arrests. There was no damage to property. There was no violence, no threats. We got a little bit testy when the protesters merged, put themselves on the street there at the intersection of McBean and Valencia, and fortunately our law enforcement was there and was able to move people back onto the streets or onto the sidewalks as quickly and safely as possible, and did so without incident. And so it was, unlike what we've unfortunately seen across the country, Santa Clarita had a significantly large turnout, but did not result in any of the damage or cause any of the issues that we're seeing across the country. But that being said, I think it's important to address that there was a social media post, an anonymous social media post, of course, that was highly circulated yesterday that said that there was another protest set for Thursday, that it had been, quote, permitted by the city. There are going to be 800 plus attendees people are being bussed in from across Southern California. Businesses are being told to board up and be ready, and it's unfortunate because the environment we're in, people are inclined to believe that, and so it's important for me to provide some clarity.
Please.
First, yes, there is a effort to organize another protest on Thursday at noon here at the same location. There is no permit. Much like the Reopen SCV rallies that happened last month, permits are not required if you are going to gather on the public right-of-way. So the sidewalks and street corners, you do not need a permit to stand on the corner and exercise your First Amendment right. If you wanted to march in the streets or something of that nature, then yes, permits are required so that logistics can be put in place. We have so make that clear that there is no permit that has been issued by the city. We have no confirmation of the numbers of participants, nor do we have any firm indication that people are set to be bussed in. Now, that being said, we are not taking this lightly. This is clearly the number one priority and focus of our staff at City Hall, as well as our law enforcement, to make sure that we are prepared for any possible scenario. Again, on Saturday it was peaceful, and we have no reason to believe at this point that there's no reason to expect that it won't be that again, particularly if it is made up of Santa Clarita residents. But as we have seen since Saturday, it's taken a very ugly turn throughout the country, and we will be prepared for any possible scenario to protect our community.
Okay, with that having been said, I do want to skip on down. I have a couple of questions from our listeners. There was one on Facebook Live that you've already answered, so thank you for being so clear about what is and what is not happening on Thursday. This question came in, and I know it's the county's call, but a listener's asking, do you think that the curfews will be extended to today or beyond?
I don't have any firm confirmation, but I would expect that the curfew will. I would not be surprised if the curfews do not go throughout the week. I think there is still a lot of uncertainty and disinformation, and so I believe that we should expect a curfew to be in place at least through Friday. Again, I don't have any firm confirmation with that from conversations with the county or the sheriff, but I think based on what we're seeing around the country and what other communities are doing, I think the county will probably extend it into through the week.
Okay, one last question here. This listener says, I was here for the riots in '92, and while I'm very saddened by what we're seeing, I'm also impressed by the LAPD and the LA Sheriff's response. What's your assessment of the comportment of law enforcement and the protesters? Do you attribute that to training over the last 27 years, a shift in mindset? Mayor Smythe, you were here as well as I was back in '92. What's your take on how well our law enforcement's doing?
So I think I should, I'll just speak to the sheriff's department because that's with whom I've been interacting, and and so I think it's definitely a combination. Here in Santa Clarita, the protest on Saturday was very much made up of students and young people who live here, and and so. There, I saw a number of parents and teenage kids, and together, and they weren't here to destroy the community they live in. They were there because of the reaction to, in my opinion, the murder, and they wanted to voice their outrage and their support for his family, and conversely. I think our law enforcement training has changed significantly, and I watched our local department interact with some of the protests and their leaders. We saw when the march moved to the sheriff's station, there was respect and positive interaction, and I think that helped keep things from escalating. And so I do. I think there was a combination of the two, and so for here in Santa Clarita, I always talk about kind of the Santa Clarita way, and even what we saw on Saturday was just another example of how Santa Clarita does things differently, and we can set a standard for other communities. The concern obviously for Thursday and beyond are people that are not from Santa Clarita and don't care about this community, and have no interest in being, productive or peaceful. And that's the concern I think we all share going into Thursday. But yes, I think from what I saw, the combination of training from our law enforcement as well as the protesters, it worked very well, and certainly that is our hope that we will see a repeat of that on Thursday. But as I said, we are preparing for any possible scenario.
Mayor Smythe, I know we're up against a hard out. You said you had to go at 9:30. We do appreciate your time. Is there anything else that you wanted to say to the community before you need to take off?
No, I just, like I said, I think right now there is a lot of everybody is very much on edge. Between the combination of being locked up through the COVID stay-at-home orders.
Sure.
And now you have a curfew coming right on the heels of that, and there's obviously people are very concerned about their community, and I just encourage you to really be sure about what you're seeing on social media in particular. I think the post that made the rounds yesterday was a perfect example that there was a lot of information in that post. But the only 100% accurate was that there is a planned protest for Thursday at noon in Santa Clarita, but nothing beyond that could be confirmed. So I think it's important that we people just remember that as they're reading social media, so that we have the right information.
Okay. Well, we certainly. We appreciate your time. I know how much you've got going on, and we are so grateful for your leadership, Mayor Smythe. You be well, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good.
And thank you all for listening. We are going to take a quick commercial break, but we will be right back. You are listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
You can be a hero. Become a resource to a child and their family. Apply to become a resource parent and fostering or foster adopting siblings. Children's Bureau is now offering an online foster adoption orientation for individuals and/or couples who are interested in helping children in foster care while reunifying with birth families, or to provide legal permanency by adoption. Call 800-730-3933 or visit allforkids.org. That's all, the number 4, kids.org.
Aloha, friends. Go check out Honu Coffee, home of the best cold brew coffee. What makes their coffee special is how their organic coffee beans are infused with nitrogen to create a smooth and delicious cup of coffee. You'll also find traditional bold coffees and island-inspired signature drinks. They're the perfect place to catch up with friends or just relax with your favorite cup of joe. Honu Coffee on Lyons and Walnut in Newhall. Stop by and say aloha.
And now for your convenience, a second Honu location at 23502 Lyons Avenue between Peachland and Apple.
The best live theater here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Power Automotive is open for you during these challenging times. They've taken extra precautions to keep their employees and customers safe. What makes Power Automotive different? They offer a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty on all their repair services, all makes and models, autos, trucks, diesels, and even RVs. Mention KHTS and get 20% off parts. Power Automotive, on Soledad between Whites Canyon and Sierra Highway, behind Denny's. Power Automotive will show you why they've been voted Santa Clarita's #1 repair shop for the last 18 years.
Comfort Keepers provides your loved one with loving in-home care.
Miles McNamara, certified senior advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers in-home care.
Our caregivers can help you in your own home, enhancing independence, creating safety and comfort. Our Comfort Keepers provide companionship, meal preparation, medication reminders, assistance with personal care, and even transportation to doctor's appointments. If someone you love can use a helping hand at home, visit comfortkeepers.com.
Or call 287-4200.
CBC Cleaning and Restoration is ready and waiting to clean and disinfect your home or business during these trying times. CBC is certified, OSHA trained, and insured for COVID-19. They are now offering 10% off services plus free disinfection application through June 30th. All staff wears full-on PPE, and all equipment is disinfected before and after every job. Have CBC clean your carpets, upholstery, and hard surface flooring. Voted best commercial and residential cleaning company in the Santa Clarita Valley year after year. To take advantage of the COVID-19 special or more information, call CBC at 294-2221. That's 294-2221.
With many auto dealers currently closed, Reeves Complete Auto Center is open to handle service and repairs for your vehicle. With a 2-year, 24,000-mile parts and labor warranty, Dave Reeves and his team have been exceeding their customers' expectations for decades. Reeves Complete Auto Center is here for you while your dealer is closed. On Soledad and Ruther, reevesservice.com. Reeves Complete Auto Center, caring about Santa Clarita and you.
Your hometown station.
KHTS is the only station I listen to.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVI Charter School's Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I am Matt Watson. Unfortunately, the mayor has obviously, just like all local, state, and national officials, he's got a lot going on today, and unfortunately wasn't able to hold over for that second break. We did our best to get your questions in before Mayor Smyth had to go, but he did have a hard out today at 9:30, and I know as we were saying goodbye to him, a couple of you had sent in questions that I want to kind of address really quickly, but I know I'm not going to be able to answer them as thoroughly as you would like, and certainly as thoroughly as the mayor would have answered. There was a listener before the break that had asked, what do they, and I'm assuming they means the city, what do they have prepared in case the Santa Clarita Valley protests turn to looting and riots? Mayor Smythe did address that in a way. He talked about the possibility of protests, and while he did express optimism that any demonstration and protest, as we saw over the weekend, would remain positive, would remain peaceful, would remain respectful. My own narrative, my own opinion, I had to say, as I watched the events unfold on Saturday afternoon, I was so proud of our community. The protesters were fervent, were passionate, were emotive and expressive of their thoughts and their feelings. But to have a protest of that size and with that much passion and heartbreak, honestly, behind it, to be completely peaceful. Again, 0 arrests, 0 injuries, 0 damage. I was very, very proud of our community. I was also proud of our sheriff's deputies that stepped in when needed and only when needed, and did a very effective job of handling the situation. And so I'm optimistic along with the mayor. He did, however, express that that he's working with the LA County Sheriff's Department and Captain Diaz as needed, and that they're ready for any eventuality. And I know that there's obviously continual talks going on behind the scenes that we don't see, we don't hear, but I certainly put a tremendous amount of trust in our local law enforcement agencies. Tammy was asking if there are plans to bring in additional law enforcement as needed. That's something that, again, I apologize, Tammy, we weren't able to get to the mayor, but we are working to get Captain Diaz here on the air. Again, understand how remarkably busy and occupied he and everyone that he works with are during this time. However, producer Sarah and I are working on it. Hopefully we can get him on, and that will be question number 1 that we ask for you. Okay, Tammy? So yeah, thank you all for listening in. I did want to share some comments from other areas of leadership. You know, during this time, we're all hurting, and some of us are expressing that hurt in one way or another. Hurt for social injustice, hurt for what's going on in our communities right now, hurt for some things that we're seeing, some things that we're hearing, and leadership is coming in from some interesting places, some people in places that you would expect and others that you might not. And I'd like to share a couple of those things with you while I've got a little bit of time. Let's start with a statement from our new Congressman Mike Garcia from the 38th District here. The statement that he put out just a couple days ago said the death of George Floyd was a horrible act, and those involved must be brought to justice. Demonstrating the sadness and anger that we all feel toward this tragedy is right, but we must also ensure that those acts are peaceful, and I would echo that sentiment to all in our community. I was touched by a couple of athletes. You know, athletes oftentimes, whether it's fairly or not, are thrust into the limelight, and they're asked their opinions on things that aren't necessarily in their area of expertise, and that can be a burden. It can also be a tremendous opportunity for them. A couple of folks that I heard from yesterday and over the weekend I was greatly impressed by. Former NBA star Jalen Rose had an interesting quote. He spoke at length about what's going on, but one of the quotes that's being widely reported, again, Jalen Rose, former NBA star, said, "I wish America loved black people just as much as they love black culture." He went on to say, "This is not new, and it's not going to come from just us. We need people who aren't black. We need people who aren't brown. When you know these things are happening in your society, to have a voice, a legitimate one, lock and step with us, protest with us, post with us, not just when it's convenient, when it can be uncomfortable as well." And then Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, former NBA great and Hall of Famer, wrote an op-ed piece for the Los Angeles Times this weekend that was rather poignant, and a quote from that's being well, you could say retweeted, requoted by a lot of people in the sports world and outside of it. He says, "Racism in America is like dust in the air. It seems invisible, even if you're choking on it, until you let the sun in. Then you see it's everywhere. As long as we keep shining that light, we have a chance of cleaning it wherever it lands. But we have to stay vigilant because it's always still in the air." And I would, again, like to echo that and just say let's keep our eyes open. I talked yesterday about the need to follow Stephen Covey's 7 habits, especially habit number 5, seek first to understand. I know a lot of us, we all approach things with our own perspective. You know, I was raised by a police officer. My father was worked in the LAPD for 30 years. He was out there during the riots in 1992. I was answering the phone as the calls were coming into the house, calling my father to get back downtown and report for duty. I was there when the phone was ringing in the middle of the night, and I watched my father drive off into the darkness, and it was scary, and my heart went out for him and his colleagues, men and women that I called aunts and uncles, simply because they worked with my father. They were my family, and I know how scary it is. I know many members of law enforcement currently, and I know how stressful this time is for them and their family, and I know working 12-hour shifts, how exhausting that can be, and especially when you're under such tremendous stress and pressure. But I want to remind all of us, let's please listen. Let's listen to each other. Let's do our best to show compassion to each other. It's so important that we just seek first to understand. Let's understand all perspectives, and I say that to everyone. Yes, I want my perspective to be heard. I want my perspective to be understood, and I need compassion. True leaders seek to understand first. And lastly, I wanted to share this quote that I was very proud of that came out of my organization just yesterday. SCVI and I Lead Schools sponsors this radio show, and they issued a statement last night, late yesterday afternoon. They said, "Dear families, this past week has been among the most wrenching in our nation's history. The murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis, followed by the unrest that has impacted cities across America, has left all of us heartbroken. For too long, members of our shared community have felt the pain and anger caused by racism and the fear of inequitable treatment in our justice system. We extend our deepest sympathies to the family and friends of George Floyd and hope his senseless killing prompts much-needed change in every corner of our nation. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King penned those words in 1963. Today, nearly 6 decades later, they could not be more poignant and vital. These are confusing and difficult times, and our learners, our students, are looking to us for answers. They share our hurt and outrage, and our focus must be on supporting them and healing. Although we're apart today, meaning that our students are not in our schools. Remember, this was issued by SCVI and iLead Schools. Although we're apart today because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we encourage parents and caregivers to spend a few minutes right now talking with your children and reinforcing our shared values of compassion and equality. If you need some ideas or ways to start conversations, please read this National Geographic article to help you talk with children about race, and this post from Teaching Tolerance. And I'm going to go ahead and post those in our Facebook Live feed if those are resources that can be helpful to you. The statement from iLead Schools goes on to say, iLead was developed on a foundation of empathy and love. Each and every day, we watch as our learners build upon that foundation with projects and initiatives to create a better future. Even in these dark times, these young global citizens fill us with hope and optimism, and we are very proud of them. They are the true embodiment of light and love, and they are the reason we will emerge from this dark period with resiliency and determination. As Dr. King said in 1967, we must walk on in the days ahead with an audacious faith in the future. Our learners, our students, our children, their facilitators and teachers, and our entire team bring us that audacious faith and boundless hope for the future. And we are so thankful to have them and all of you in our iLead family. We hold all of you close to our hearts today. With love, Dawn Evenson and Amber Raskin, founders, SCVI and iLead Schools. Again, open your hearts, open your eyes, open your ears. Let's listen to each other, and let's have some compassion for all of our fellow man today. Okay? We're going to take another quick commercial break, but we will be back soon. For more information on how COVID-19 is affecting our valley, go to hometownstation.com and click on the red banner. There you'll find tips on the economy, health updates, special business hours, and much, much more. You're listening to SCVI Charter Schools' Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
We salute our veterans who sacrificed for our freedom.
Santa Clarita veteran Bill Reynolds.
Each week, we share an inspirational story of a local veteran on our Hometown Heroes page at hometownstation.com, thanks to our good friends at Eternal Valley.
I'm Richard Nunnally, General Manager of Eternal Valley Memorial Park and Mortuary. We believe taking care of each other is what community is all about. We're proud to bring you the stories of our hometown heroes.
Eternal Valley, life well celebrated.
Hi, this is Bob Schertz with the Way Out Recovery SCV, reminding you that during these unprecedented times, addiction and mental health do not take a break. If you or someone you love are struggling, please give us a call at 661-296-4444. We are open and here to help you during this time. Thanks.
Find the perfect job for you at College of the Canyon's first 2020 job fair. This spring job fair has gone virtual. If you're an employer looking for new recruits, this is your perfect opportunity to find them. And if you're a job seeker looking for employment, COC's virtual job fair will let you connect online in real time with employers seeking to fill their open positions. It's happening Thursday and Friday, June 11th and 12th from 9 a.m. till noon. For more information and to register, go to cocjobfair.com. That's cocjobfair.com.
Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you are listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I mentioned it at the top of the hour, but I knew that we had such short time with Mayor Smyth that I did not give it the time that it deserved. I know it's still going on right now, and assuredly there are some folks queuing up and winding through Central Park right now for the graduation celebration that's going on. Today, Hart High School is graduating. And I wanted to extend again my congratulations to the graduates of Hart High School 2020. This has been your year, and I know it's been tough. Graduations, they typically last. I was watching a webinar with the superintendent as well as one of his assistants, Dr. Nielsen, who actually used to be the principal of Hart High School up until not too long ago. And they were talking about how their typical graduation ceremony lasts about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. But this week, each school's graduation is slated to go from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. as cars snake somewhat alphabetically through Central Park. And so on my way into the station before the show today, I actually had the pleasure of driving next to Rachel and her family. And I took note of her first name and didn't really worry about her last name. I wouldn't air that without her permission. But as I drove down Railroad, I drove next to Rachel's car, and she's a graduate this year. How do I know? Well, her car was clearly marked and identified as a lot of them are in celebration and in honor of Rachel and all that she's accomplished. And the young lady sitting in the passenger seat was wearing a dark blue cap and gown, and so I'm certain that she had just finished up going through that procession. Again, I know this is not the way you had dreamed your high school graduation would be, and it is not fair the way you're graduating right now, but nonetheless, you are graduating. It's a huge accomplishment, and we congratulate you. Good job, Hart High School, class of 2020. Now go and make this world a better place. We need you, and we have faith in you. We've seen this generation, especially this year's group of seniors, and how resilient and how strong they've been. We're going to need that resilience. We're going to need that grit. Bless you all again. Congratulations. I want to ask the rest of you, how are you guys talking to your kids? Whether you've got a high school senior or a high schooler or younger ones. Times like these can be difficult when we're, especially for those of us that are raising kids, because we've got to deal with so much ourselves. You know, I'm watching the news and watching everything that's going on, and it puts a tremendous burden on me and a tremendous amount of stress. But then we've also got to shepherd our kids. We've got to be strong for them, and we need to be there for our kids. So how are you talking to your kids? Some of you might be thinking, I wish my kids were younger, then we wouldn't have to talk to them about these things. But you know what? If your child is over maybe about 3 years old, you're going to have to address it somehow. Some of you might be thinking, I wish my kids were older so that we could talk a little bit more openly. But trust me, it does not get easier as it gets older. My conversation with my 20-year-old yesterday was not a simple one. It was not an easy one. We'll talk about it with Christina, our show's official licensed marriage and family therapist, next hour. But here's some advice that I can give you. Obviously, consider your kid's age. Don't talk in terms that they're not ready to process, to deal with, to understand yet. But don't talk down to them either. Don't be condescending, okay? Try to consider their age and talk to them right where they're at. And like I encouraged last break, listen to them, okay? Listen to what's on their mind. Listen to what they're thinking. They will let you know where they're at and what they need. So make sure you're listening. Don't be scared to talk to them, okay? They may learn that this is one of those things that you can't talk about or that they can't talk to their parents about, that's the last thing you want, right? You want your kids talking to you about everything. So don't be scared to respond to them. but be prepared, right? Your kids may bring this up when you're not expecting it, and you don't want to be caught off guard. So use the resources that producer Sarah just posted last hour, and use something that's consistent with your beliefs, your values, your house of worship. But be prepared, all right? Because your kids might bring it up as they wake up this morning. They may bring it up at breakfast or lunch. So be prepared. Be aware of your fantastic influence and the great privilege that you have to exert that influence on your kids. And again, listen to them, talk to them, and just love on them. They need you right now, okay? It is time for us to check local and national news stories and the latest updates, but stick around. When we come back, we've got Debbie Dole from the Assistance League of Santa Clarita. You are listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. This is your host, Matt Watson, on your hometown station, KHTS.
Great healthcare just got easier and more convenient in Canyon Country. Facey Canyon Country is now open directly off the Soledad Canyon exit off the 14 freeway. The 37,000 square foot clinic houses Facey Medical Group primary care physicians, pediatricians, and specialists. Facey has easy 24/7 online appointment scheduling for PCPs and PEDS. For more information or to make an appointment, visit facey.com. That's FACEY.com.
Hi, it's Rick Garcia from my radio show with Rick Garcia here on KHTS. Man, it seems like it's been forever since we sat down in a restaurant and enjoyed a meal with our family and friends. As the clock counts down to the expiration of the stay-at-home order, a lot of our local businesses are working hard, getting ready to reopen, including restaurants. Ultimately, it's up to our local restaurants to come up with safety plans moving forward. But we can help too. Plan on no more than an hour of dining out. If we don't linger, it allows more turnover for the restaurant, which in turn provides more business for them and more tips for servers who are on the front line. In other words, it's a win-win. Together, we can create a new normal for Santa Clarita that's safe and enjoyable.
There's a very good reason Embrace Your Smile has been voted Santa Clarita's #1 orthodontist for 10 years in a row.
Honestly, it's our team.
Dr. Megan LeCornu.
I think for me, what makes it stand out is when I have patients that come up to me and say, we have never been in a doctor's office that feels like this. Our team is a family, and we really get along, and we are really passionate about what we do, helping our patients get the smiles they want and deserve.
Dr. Megan LeCornu of Embrace Your Smile Orthodontics.
Embrace your smile.
EmbraceYourSmile.com.
The coronavirus has put us in a position of creating a new normal. Family Law at Home understands. Their goal is to meet you in the safest place possible. And these days, that might be in your own home in a virtual meeting. Family Law at Home will provide you with immediate advice on your family law matters, such as divorce cases, child custody disputes, and domestic violence. It's as easy as going to FamilyLawAtHome.com. You'll choose your own consultation date and be in immediate contact with one of their esteemed attorneys. Family Law at Home handles the legal aspect while you and your family navigate the new chapter in your lives. Go to FamilyLawAtHome.com.
Your building sign is essential to getting customers to your location. Feathers can help you get your business noticed. Feathers, now in a new, larger space with plenty of parking. They walk you through each phase of your project with special attention to detail and quality. Feathers will provide you with a sign that you can be proud of. Your sign will draw customers in instead of having them drive by. Visit Feathers online at feathersigns.com or go to Feathers' brand new, bigger location at 26017 Huntington Drive off Rye Canyon or call 298-9442.
KHTS AM 1220 and 98.1 FM Santa Clarita. It's 10 o'clock. Time for national news on KHTS.
They went from shut down to boarded up. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. Businesses trying to reopen from pandemic restrictions are now trying to protect themselves from looting after a 7th night of protests over the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis turned violent in some cities.
We will not allow this city to regress.
New York City Police Commissioner Dermot Shea.
We will protect all citizens of this city, and we will protect all property owners of this this city.
But New York Governor Andrew Cuomo says the police force failed to protect businesses and the public last night. Mayor Bill de Blasio defending the decision not to use the National Guard.
When outside armed forces go into communities, no good comes of it.
Multiple stores were damaged and looted, including the landmark Macy's in Herald Square. But it was also a dangerous night for police, with several injured, including 3 hit by cars in New York City and in Buffalo. 4 officers were shot and wounded in St. Louis, another shot in critical condition in Las Vegas. And while criticizing the response last night, Governor Cuomo in New York also accuses the president of focusing on the looting to avoid having to talk about the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, echoing an attack by Joe Biden this morning.
Donald Trump has turned this country into a battlefield riven by old resentments and fresh fears. He thinks division helps him. His narcissism has become more important than the nation's well-being that he leads.
The presumptive Democratic nominee speaking at Philadelphia City Hall on primary day for Pennsylvania and 7 other states, plus D.C. The president has called Floyd's death a grave tragedy and says the nation needs healing, not hatred. Earlier, visiting St. John Paul II National Shrine to sign an executive order on advancing religious freedom. In Atlanta, prosecutors just announcing charges against 6 police officers after 2 college students were pulled out of a car during protests. America is listening to Fox News.
Anyone who builds, remodels, or repairs for a living, we know the way you work has changed. That's why Lowe's is committing today to build new ways to keep you working tomorrow. We are proud to introduce the new Lowe's for Pros job site, powered by Stream, an augmented video chat tool, so you can be there for your customers without actually being there. And the cost to use? Try it free through October 31st at lowesforpros.com/proloyalty. Just one of the reasons why Lowe's is the new home for pros. Services subject to Stream terms. Lowe's loyalty membership required. More terms apply.
I'm giving Jeb's basement renovations 1 star. He kept asking me what's behind the walls down there. I'm like, why? What do you know?
No matter how hard you work for your small business, online reviewers will find something to complain about.
And then he's like, you can trust me with the job. And I'm all like, trust?
And while Progressive can't save you from these trolls, we can help you save money on commercial auto and business insurance.
Yeah, he charged me less than he said he would, which is lying.
Get a quote online today at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliated and third-party insurers.
During the pandemic, a surge in crypto crimes.
A company that tracks cryptocurrency crimes says losses from cryptocurrency thefts, hacks, and frauds soared to nearly $1.4 billion from the beginning of the year until the end of May. Some of the frauds coronavirus related, according to crypto intelligence company CipherTrace. Crimes included scammers impersonating entities like the Red Cross to gain personal information and payments in cryptocurrencies, apps that claim to support victims but are actually spying on users, and also sale of bogus personal protective equipment, treatments, and testing kits. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
The White House may be ready to start moving on another round of coronavirus relief. A source telling Fox Business talks are planned for this week with several issues at the top of the list, including a payroll tax cut, a possible tax credit or tax deduction for taking a vacation, including write-offs for things like hotels and meals during a specific and as yet unknown time frame, and liability protection for reopening businesses. But some companies are taking steps already to protect themselves from lawsuits.
Companies big and small don't want you to sue them if you catch the coronavirus, so grab a pen and be ready to sign a piece of paper. When you head to the Salon Jimmer office, COVID-19 waivers may be required for both employees and customers. Notices popping up around the nation asking you to acknowledge that you could catch the invisible enemy that's killed over 105,000 people in the States. That number from Johns Hopkins University. A salon in Pensacola, Florida now requires clients to sign a COVID-19 form, while Walt Disney Company's website cites severe illness and death risks for customers at its Orlando, Florida amusement parks set to reopen on July 11th. CJ Papa, Fox News.
Wall Street's been rallying, seen as continued hope for pandemic recovery. The Dow's been up over 100 points. I'm Lisa Brady, and this is Fox News.
Thanks for listening to KHTS AM 1220, Canyon Country, California. K260CO 98.1 FM, Santa Clarita, California.
At iLead Agua Dulce, we believe the most important thing a child can learn in school is who they are. Life's real tests are never standardized, which is why we've developed an individual-based curriculum that values exploration, cooperation, and creativity. As our learners grow, so do we. Our tuition-free charter school is currently enrolling grades TK through 7th and adding 8th grade in 2020. Your young learner will be immersed in a unique environment where possibility and self-discovery are at the core of every experience. The Agua Dulce campus features beautiful indoor and outdoor spaces for hands-on inspiration, including a robotics lab, a garden bed, a greenhouse, and a technology-based exploratorium. iLead Agua Dulce is conveniently located on the east side of the Santa Clarita Valley, just off the 14 freeway. Check out our homeschool options too. To schedule a campus tour or learn more about our programs, visit ileadaguadulce.org. We're enrolling now. iLead Schools. Free to think, inspired to lead.
This is Bradley Gross from Santa Clarita Grocery. Santa Clarita Grocery serves fresh groceries to families, individuals, and those experiencing homelessness. At Santa Clarita Grocery, out of every dollar donated, a full 99 cents goes directly to the needs being addressed. As an all-volunteer-led organization, we operate on a 1% overhead, receiving no government funding for our operations in the community, resulting in us being one of the most efficient charities in the Santa Clarita Valley. If you're looking to support the good for our community, please consider partnering with us by donating to Santa Clarita Grocery. What is donated is specifically kept in the Santa Clarita Valley, helping over 3,000 families, including 5 other community charities. Please visit our website, santaclaritagrocery.org, or visit us on social media or call us at 425-7575. That's 425-7575.
Your hometown station.
Our news team at KHTS is constantly working to keep you informed. If you want the latest and greatest information on the Santa Clarita Valley, just sign up for the KHTS Newsletter. SCV News delivered directly to your email inbox every weekday by 5 p.m. and a special weekend edition on Sundays. All it takes is an email address and you're set. Go to hometownstation.com to register.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, and I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row, and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCV Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
Hi, I'm Eric Goldhurst, Head of Operations for Burger King North America. Throughout this time, we've taken steps to take care of our guests.
And since we know many of your jobs have been affected by this crisis,
we want to help make sure you're taken care of too.
If you are looking for work, we are hiring.
And there's a spot on our team for you.
We know that we'll get through this together, as long as we keep taking care of each other.
For more information, call 253-3283. That's 253-3283.
Hey there, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. Mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 91, overnight lows in the low 70s. For anything and everything Santa Clarita Valley related, go to hometownstation.com or find us on Facebook at KHTS Radio.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
The following is sponsored programming and does not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of KHTS or its ownership.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, your host. You are listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. Before we get to our next guest, I do want to remind you, hometownstation.com has got all of your latest news updates, and that can be really important during these times. I was talking to our next guest off the air, and we'll bring Debbie Dole on in just a minute. But we talked a little bit about the confusion that many of us experienced yesterday when we received those Amber Alerts on our phones, indicating at first LA County issuing a 6 p.m. curfew, and then a few minutes later a clarification that made things very unclear, that said curfew is being moved from 6 p.m. to 5 p.m. And as it turns out, I believe that was issued by the area of Glendale, is what I had heard. And there was also some confusion about, okay, so this is LA County. Is that all of LA County? Does that include us as Santa Clarita? First and foremost, yeah, when the county issues a countywide curfew, that applies to us here in Santa Clarita and throughout the valley and anywhere within LA County, obviously. But when you've got questions, when you need clarification, I want you to head over to hometownstation.com, and sometimes it even comes a little bit more quickly on KHTS's social media channels. So whether it's Facebook or Instagram, head on over and check out KHTS's social media channels, and they will make sure that you have exactly the information that you need as quickly as we can get it to you. So please stay tuned to that. Our next guest is Debbie Dole. She is from the Assistance League of Santa Clarita. Debbie first became involved with the Assistance League about 5 years ago, and I understand it was when she attended an event that her husband, who's a musician, was performing at. Debbie, good morning. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Of course. What was that event that you were attending that first turned you on to the Assistance League?
Oh, that's one of my favorite events in Santa Clarita Valley. It's Sunset in the Vineyard. It's held in the backyard of Chris and Jeannie Carpenter in Newhall, and they have a vineyard in their backyard, and they make wine. This is an event we have every year just to bring information about our organization and just to get people to have a great time. Unfortunately, however, because of COVID-19, we are going to have to postpone that event. It's held it's always held on the first Sunday in November, and we have about over 300 people. It's not a huge space, so you can understand why, just as a precaution and to be health-wise, we need to postpone it until the future sometime.
Sure.
But we will have it again, I assure you.
It sounds like a wonderful event. So before we get too deep into things, can you tell our listeners who aren't as familiar with the Assistance League, tell us about what you do. When were you first formed, and how? Tell us all about the League.
Well, it was back in October of 1988, a group of women, specifically started by Cindy Anderson, who has now passed, but she got her friends together and basically said, to her friends, this is your time to give yourself to the community. And this is outside of things like soccer or t-ball that we do for our kids, but this is something to help the entire community. And so by 1989, they joined the National Assistance League with our chapter out here. And we've grown tremendously. The first philanthropic program we had was teddy bears, and we gave the fire department and police department teddy bears to give to children and individuals when they were in need after suffering a trauma.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And so you guys have grown, gosh, now it's been over 30 years that you've been open, 32 years. So what is your mission? Can you talk to us a little bit about the work that the Assistance League does now in and for our community?
Well, our mission statement is transforming lives, strengthening community. And when you think about it, we try to reach those individuals who are on the outskirts of our community, those who are in need, and not necessarily in a way that affects their daily life. Our biggest program, biggest philanthropic program is Operation School Bell. And to date, we have clothed over 35,000 kids from kindergarten through high school, and at a cost of over $3 million.
Now, Debbie, is that nationwide, or is that just here, or your local chapter here in Santa Clarita?
That's just from our local chapter.
Wow.
And there's all throughout California, all throughout the country. Operation School Bell, as I said, is our largest program. And what we do is we connect with the schools through their counselors or their administration, find out who is in need, who the teachers see that are in need financially for clothes. Having a kid dress like the other kids in class and maybe not wear hand-me-downs that are ripped and torn. I mean, when I worked in the school, I literally saw kids coming to school with holes in their shoes, and that sets them apart. And we felt that there was a great need to make them feel better about themselves by giving them new clothes, not hand-me-downs or something, even from our store where we have used clothes, but new clothes. And so we partnered with Old Navy, and at the beginning of the school year, we had several nights where we invite different schools to come with their parents, kids in school to come with their parents, and we have a voucher for them that lets them go and shop for new clothes and shoes.
That is amazing, and I just have to say a personal thank you to you and your colleagues there at the Assistance League, Debbie. As we talked about off the air, I am a teacher by trade, and I was raised here in Santa Clarita and under certain privilege, and you don't necessarily see things outside your bubble. When I first started teaching in 1995, I'll never forget Lionel. Lionel was in my class my very first year, and he wore dress shoes to school every day, but he had the backs cut out. They were hand-me-downs, but he'd grown out of them. But his older brother was still using the next size up, and so the back of his shoes had actually been cut out so that they didn't tear the skin off of his heels. And you're absolutely right. Those kind of things, kids will focus on them. And I continually thought, Lionel's sitting there in my classroom, and he's not thinking about nouns and verbs. He's not thinking about his times tables. He's thinking about who's looking at me, who's judging me, who I look different. I stand out. I don't have the things that I need. And there's been obviously tremendous research that talks about that. When kids aren't getting their basic needs met, they're not able to focus on those other things that we consider so important that then become so secondary for them. So thank you for the work that you're doing. Debbie, can you tell us a little bit about what your role is at the League? What do you specifically do?
Well, I'm the current chairman of marketing and PR. And so I try to get information out to the general public through Santa Clarita Magazine, which has been a wonderful partner. Also, KHTS has been a wonderful partner, and they've helped us advertise Sunset in the Vineyard. We also have another fundraiser in the fall, the Day of Art, which is done at our store, where through the year we set aside donations that we receive that we realize are actually worthy pieces of art or sculpture or something that is collectible. And so we have a day set aside where we do just that, just have those pieces out. In addition to that, we were going to have a casino night, our second annual, and that was scheduled for this past Friday. We've had to postpone that also. But as I said, with these postponed events, we are definitely looking forward to doing them in the future. I wanted to add something to clothing the community, a new program that we've started, and I believe it was in 2017. We've begun partnering with COC's RISE program, which is a program that is dedicated to helping individuals who have aged out of the foster care program.
Yeah.
And personally, when I think of these individuals, because of no fault of their own, all of a sudden they turn 18, they're given a garbage bag to then go out into the world with their the few belongings that they have. And I know that when I was 18, or when my kids were 18, they were not equipped to handle that type of situation. So this new program, we work with COC. We offer tutoring to those students because they've often had difficulties in learning situations, maybe from going from multiple homes or not being able to really attend, or having some underlying, situation that continues to make it difficult. So we provide tutoring, we help them, we do a clothes drive for them, and they are actually part of our Operation School Bell also.
Wow, that's amazing. As you were talking, I was thinking the same thing. I've got a son who's a senior in high school. He's going to be 18 in September, and he's a great kid. He's very, very mature, very thoughtful. But to think that in September he would be handed a big plastic bag with all of his belongings and just sent on his way, good luck as you head off into life, would be devastating to him, let alone someone who's grown up in foster care and the complex trauma that automatically indicates that A, that you've been raised in foster care, and then B, whatever situation that caused you to end up there, and then all the different things that happen. Bless you guys. It's amazing that you guys are doing those things for not just the little ones, but the older kids that are aging out of foster care. This is certainly inspirational work. And speaking of inspiration, Debbie, we mentioned it a little bit as we came in, that you got inspired at this event that you attended to join the league. What was it about the league that inspired you and called your attention and got you in and serving for the league? What made you want to join?
Well, I was impressed that they did so much good, and it's a 100% volunteer organization. There are no paid positions. People work so hard, and they address the needs of individuals that, if you're in a middle class or above, you're just sort of blinded to them. You don't see them all the time. They're on the fringes. And I really, believed in the mission statement in terms of that's how we help an individual's life. And by building upon that, you're strengthening the entire community. Everybody in a community has a part. And if they feel stronger, more secure, and can have somewhat of a better life, then the entire community is strengthened.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And what an inspiring message as we pull together and serve each other and look out for those that might not always be as obvious in our city and in our society. I understand that you guys also help kids get eyeglasses. Is that true?
Uh-huh. It's called Eye Care for Kids. And again, we receive the referrals from the school districts, and we take them to Kmart, their optical department. They get a free eye exam, and they get free glasses. And all of our events that we do, it's not that we just send them out. Our members are at these places, helping them and trying to encourage them, and just to be there as a presence, to show some type of support for those individuals.
And I know how important that can be. Even if your name becomes that lady that helped me get my glasses, you become a very important person in that child's life for a long time. And you don't just work with children, do you? I understand you work with the seniors in our city as well?
Yes, we have a program called Family Ties, and we go to Santa Clarita Assisted Living Facility, and we provide monthly meals, and there's often a theme to it. We bring small gifts for those individuals that have birthdays and or just a special event. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, we've also had to put that on hold. We also provide loaves of love, which are we make little tiny banana bread loaves, and we hand those out to seniors too. We try to be attuned to what the needs of the community are. Recently, we heard that the Santa Clarita Food Bank was in need of various different foods. So we gathered our members, we sent out email to our members, and we were in different locations in the Santa Clarita Valley for drop-offs. And so we were able to gather over 300 bags of groceries for the food pantry. So I think basically we just try to be attuned to what needs are in our community, and little acts of kindness make huge differences, I think.
Well, absolutely, and I would argue that a lot of these things that you're doing are no small acts of kindness. These are making a huge difference in so many people's lives. We're so grateful. We're here with Debbie Dole this morning from the Assistance League of Santa Clarita. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but do stick around. We're going to continue our conversation with Debbie when we come back in just a couple minutes. You're listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
This is Noelle Hallaby from Family Law at Home, here to provide you some tips during this uncertain time. Many of you are thinking of a divorce, wondering, can I file a divorce during the time the courts are closed, and should I? Well, while the courts are closed to the general public, they're still operational. It's just with limited staff. The courts are accepting filings through a Dropbox system. Any person can still file a petition for custody or divorce and will receive it back file stamped by the court. The benefit of filing the petition is that the case commences. Commencing a case does two things. It starts the 6-month waiting period to receive the actual divorce, and also there are standard family law orders that are restraining orders issued with every divorce or custody petition filing. These restraining orders include orders that the children cannot be removed from the state of California, insurances cannot be canceled, accounts cannot be closed, and assets can't be transferred. If you have a need, now's the time to handle it.
At iLead Agua Dulce, we believe the most important thing a child can learn in school is who they are. Life's real tests are never standardized, which is why we've developed an individual-based curriculum that values exploration, cooperation, and creativity. As our learners grow, so do we. Our tuition-free charter school is currently enrolling grades TK through 7th and adding 8th grade in 2020. Your young learner will be immersed in a unique environment where possibility and self-discovery are at the core of every experience. The Agua Dulce campus features beautiful indoor and outdoor spaces for hands-on inspiration, including a robotics lab, a garden bed, a greenhouse, and a technology-based exploratorium. iLead Agua Dulce is conveniently located on the east side of the Santa Clarita Valley, just off the 14 freeway. Check out our homeschool options too. To schedule a campus tour or learn more about our programs, visit iLeadAguaDulce.org. We're enrolling now. iLead Schools. Free to think, inspired to lead.
Your hometown station.
It's no secret that KHTS has the best midday talk show lineup around. If you've missed any of your favorites, no problem. KHTS has you covered. Podcasts for all the midday shows can be found right on our website, hometownstation.com. Whether you missed a show from 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years ago, and you want to catch up, we got you covered. They're all right there. Plus extra podcasts too. That's hometownstation.com. hometownstation.com.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Hi, I'm Miles McNamara, Certified Senior Advisor and owner of Comfort Keepers in Home Care. Our caregivers help you in your own home. A Comfort Keeper can provide companionship, meal preparation, medication monitoring, assistance with personal care, transportation to doctor appointments, all enhancing your independence and safety in the comfort and privacy of your own home. So if you or someone you love could use a helping hand at home, call Comfort Keepers at 287-4200. That's 287-4200.
Hey, this is Ellen Kay, and I'm so excited. Exer More Than Urgent Care is now open in Canyon Country, right near Highway 14 and Soledad Canyon Road. Exer is the ER alternative that's built and staffed by ER doctors. And with on-site lab, x-ray, and pharmacy, Exer has more medical services than most urgent care. Open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Walk in and be seen in minutes. Visit exerurgentcare.com for more information. That's exerurgentcare.com.
CBC Cleaning and Restoration is ready and waiting to clean and disinfect your home or business during these trying times. CBC is certified, OSHA trained, and insured for COVID-19. They are now offering 10% off services plus free disinfection application through June 30th. All staff wears full-on PPE, and all equipment is disinfected before and after every job. Have CBC clean your carpets, upholstery, and hard surface flooring. Voted best commercial and residential cleaning company in the Santa Clarita Valley year after year. To take advantage of the COVID-19 special or more information, call CBC at 294-2221. That's 294-2221.
We all know sometimes people lose their way. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, the Way Out Recovery SCV may have the answers you've been waiting for. The Way Out is the premier intensive outpatient treatment center serving Santa Clarita. Asking for help is the first step. Call The Way Out today, 661-296-4444. That's 296-4444 for a private free assessment. The Way Out is an accredited, affordable outpatient program that accepts most insurance. Call us at 661-296-4444 or check us out online at thewayoutrrecoveryscv.com. Quit battling with yourself. Ask The Way Out for help today.
Hey there, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. Mix of sun and clouds today with a high of 91, overnight lows in the low 70s. For anything and everything Santa Clarita Valley related, go to hometownstation.com or find us on Facebook at KHTS Radio.
98.1 FM and AM 1220.
Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. You are listening to Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson. I am here this morning with Debbie Dole. She is the Public Relations Officer for the Assistance League of Santa Clarita. Debbie, thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks for filling our hearts and inspiring us. You guys at the Assistance League are doing some amazing things for young ones, for older kids, new adults, as well as our senior citizens here in our community, and it is so heartwarming. You know, as we talk, and we're going to give our listeners some information in just a couple minutes about how they can donate and support the great work that you guys are doing. But, you know, Debbie, there are so many different organizations just in Santa Clarita alone that we all can donate to. And then there's also the national level organizations that, speaking for myself personally, it's tough. You know, you can't give to every organization, even though they all may be worthy. And so one of the things that I look at before I donate is the level of administrative costs in an organization. Can you talk to us a little bit about the administrative costs for the Assistance League? How much of the money that I donate actually gets to the intended recipient?
Well, it's a 100% volunteer organization. The only administrative cost we have is the rent on our building and the utilities and things like that. Nobody is paid. And over the past 10 years, we have had 250,000 volunteer hours. Wow. And that probably is a low estimate because people are supposed to record their hours. And sometimes they're so busy they forget to do that. If you look at that in terms of dollar value, that's over $6 million that have been saved in revenue. So where an organization might be paying for certain, so that they can run paying employees, we don't do that. So everything that we make goes back to our programs.
Wow, and the fact that everybody is a volunteer means that they're running on pure passion, which is such powerful fuel. You mentioned that you've got a building. I know you have a storefront here on Main Street. Can you tell me about the store that you have?
The store is our major source of revenue. And unfortunately, since March 13th or 14th, I think, we have been closed. So we haven't been able to get any revenue, although we still have costs of rent.
Yeah.
So what we're planning on doing, we hope to open, at this point we've set a date of June 15th. We are going to have reduced hours just in the afternoon from 1 to 4. And in addition to that, we're going to limit the number of people inside the store at one time. We're a small store, and we have lots of merchandise, so we want to make sure that everyone's able to distance.
Sure.
People will have to wear masks.
Mm-hmm.
The volunteers working there will be wearing masks. We're going to have the PlexiGuard shield over the cash register. In addition, we'll have hand sanitizers, and we've had the place professionally cleaned.
Oh, great.
Which has been wonderful. Bless to Clean has donated a large part of their services to help us with that. But we're ready. We're ready to open, and as of June 15th, we'll be ready to receive donations again, too.
Oh, that's terrific. So what kind of things do you sell at the store there?
Oh, we have a little bit of everything. The one thing that it's difficult for us to take our electronics because we don't have the ability to really test it fully, and if there's anything wrong with it, we don't have the capability to fix it, even if it's a slight problem. So we sell clothing, men's, women's, children's clothing, housewares, some great deals in housewares, books and toys, and collectibles. We take only donations that are gently used because we want to have a high quality merchandise in our store.
Sure.
So we have volunteers go through the donations that are given to us and make sure that we have only the best of the best donations out there.
Oh, that's great. And I'm looking at you on the map here. You are right here on Main Street, just a couple of blocks down from where I'm at right now at the radio station, in between Elevate Church and El Takoyama. So it's looking forward to having you back open in the middle of this month. Maybe have our listeners come on down and grab some incredible tacos there, and then finish those up and do some shopping or drop off some donations there at the
really
Assistance League.
Yes, yes.
So
we're looking forward to opening.
Oh, yeah, looking forward to having you open. Now, you mentioned you've got a lot of fundraising events throughout the annual calendar, and a lot of them have had to be canceled and postponed. Your store has been closed down, but you've still got the operational costs. You've got to pay your lease. You've got to pay your utilities. Fortunately, you don't have any employees that are getting paid ever, all volunteers, as you mentioned. So how are you able to pay those few bills that you guys have? What source of income do you guys have right now?
Well, we've been good in establishing a reserve, so that helps cover the costs. And we have received some monetary donations, which is extremely beneficial and appreciated. In addition to that, we've been applying for the different grants that are out there in the hopes of, we have received a couple of small grants, and every little bit helps. If somebody wants to donate, they can go to our website and make a monetary donation. It's Assistance League, SantaClarita.org, and there is a donate button on there, and the donations would really be appreciated.
Absolutely, and we've already got your website posted on our Facebook Live feed, so you can head on to Facebook, KHTS Radio, and go to our Facebook Live feed right now and click on that button there, and that will take you to the Assistance League's website. Again, AssistanceLeagueSantaClarita.org, real easy to remember. And then once your storefront is open, people can just come by. They don't need an appointment or anything like that to drop off those very gently used items?
No, and they can drop them off at the back of the store. If you drive around through the alley, you can see there's a sign there that says Assistance League. At the door, there's a doorbell, so just ring that and somebody will help you.
Fantastic. So you can go to the website, make a monetary donation. Starting June 15th, once the store's open, you can make those physical, non-monetary donations. That is terrific. Now, you mentioned so much has changed during this pandemic. Are you still able to support kids? Are you guys still supporting kids right now?
At the moment, with COVID-19, we haven't been able to do our programs. We are still planning on doing Operation School Bell and I Care for Kids when schools open up again, or hope, as soon as we can. Going into the convalescent homes is going to be a little bit different because of the high risk there. So we have to follow the guidelines and do what's in the best health interest of everybody concerned, of course.
Absolutely. So aside from those monetary donations, the physical donations, let's take care of our health, and let's make sure that we get our world back on track so that Debbie and her colleagues can continue to do that incredibly important work that they do. Now, Debbie, before you go, I did want to ask you, you and I talked, you're a former school psychologist, and so you work with some of those basic needs with kids in our schools. Do you have any tips for our parents, for our listeners out there when they're talking to their kids about the current events that are going on, that we're seeing on the news right now?
Well, I'm actually a speech pathologist.
I'm sorry, you said speech pathologist. I thought you said school psychologist. Please forgive me.
That's okay. What I feel is important, and absolutely in my line of work, is to engage with the individual. And I think that when we engage with our kids, regardless of their age, because even I have young adult children, and conversations can be difficult just because it's such a heated time. I think that what we need to do is realize that the basis of communication is to unite people, not to divide people. And so we want to understand where they're feeling, trying to show a feeling of comfort when we speak to them, realizing that, there are horrible things going on right now, but at the same time, to look at what good is being done, and I'm a firm believer in small acts of kindness build up. And I think as long as, I think it's so important that we continue to show kindness and understanding to one another, to our neighbors, to people who we just meet on the street. And I think if you can instill that and realize that when you talk to people, that you want to give them a chance to express their point of view and hopefully come away with a deeper understanding.
Such wise words. I'm glad I asked, Debbie. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for everything that you and your colleagues at the Assistance League of Santa Clarita are doing for our kids and for our adults here in our community. Thanks again for joining us. We'll talk to you real soon.
My pleasure. Thanks so much, Matt.
Of course. All right, we've got one last commercial break, and then we've got our friend Christina Debre, licensed marriage and family therapist, joining us. She's going to help us continue to deal with everything that we're going through right now. You're listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers. I'm Matt Watson on your hometown station, KHTS.
There is only one language spoken at Thai Dish, and it sounds something like this.
This is great.
Once people get a taste of Thai dishes, there's really no reason to do any more talking. Make it full of flavor, make it delicious, only at Thai Dishes. Enjoy the atmosphere, love the food. Thai Dishes on Valencia Boulevard for free delivery, 253-FOOD. That's 253-FOOD.
Finding the right lawyer can be a challenge, but in Santa Clarita, there's no need to search when there's Hacker Law Group, Santa Clarita's premier litigation firm. Jeffrey Hacker has represented celebrities, financial institutions, accident victims, real estate developers, realtors, contractors, businesses, nonprofit organizations, and other individuals and companies with their legal challenges. Mr. Hacker is one of Santa Clarita's leaders, consistently listed as one of our most influential. When everything is on the line and you need legal counseling, visit hackerlawgroup.com.
You could be launching your rewarding career with one of Santa Clarita's leading defense contractors, FMI Aerostructures. Imagine creating critical airplane fighter components for our nation's defense. Be on the cutting edge of advanced technologies and get the skills needed to make our defense your career. We offer career paths for beginners and professionals. FMI Aerostructures, one of Santa Clarita's largest employers since 1978.
Find out about our 4-credit mentorship programs through College of the Canyons and the William S. Hart High School District. Visit fmiscv.com.
Mission Valley Bank is a commercial bank in the Santa Clarita Valley that really puts the community into community banking.
At Mission Valley Bank, we strive to be a trusted advisor to our clients, and that means being an integral part of the communities we serve. We started the Give Where You Live program to help bring awareness to our nonprofit partners. We're more than just a local business bank. In fact, we're a full-service, independent commercial bank that is locally owned, community-minded, and relationship-driven. I'm Tamara Gurney, President and CEO of Mission Valley Bank, and I invite you to experience the Mission Valley Bank difference, where your success is our mission. We want to be your most valued bank.
Mission Valley Bank has been named Most Trusted Advisor Business Banker by the San Fernando Valley Business Journal 5 years in a row, and received the Business Leadership Award by the Santa Clarita Valley Chamber of Commerce, Valley Industry Association, and SCV Economic Development Corporation. Visit them at their Center Point branch location or at missionvalleybank.com. Member FDIC.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Dutton Plumbing, it's Eric.
It's Mother. Can you come over right away? It's urgent.
I'll be right there, Mom. Okay, I'm here. What's wrong?
It's been weeks since you had a haircut, so I want to give you a nice trim. Sit down.
Ooh, ow.
Gee, I can see myself in the back of your head, son.
Mom.
Oops.
What happened?
Never mind. It'll grow back. So, what's new at Dutton Plumbing, son?
Well, with so many people stuck at home, there's a lot of stuff getting stuck in their pipes. So, our $73 drain clearing is really keeping us busy.
Wait a minute. I bet the plumber's hair is getting shaggy, too. You tell them that Mom will cut their hair for just $73.
Isn't that a little high for a haircut, Mom?
Well, I'll toss in the manscaping for free.
Mom! DuttonPlumbing.com.
Mom's $73 drain clearing at DuttonPlumbing.com. Manscaping not included. Your hometown station, KHTS.
Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Watson, and you're listening to Eye on the Valley Homeschooling Answers, brought to you by SCVI and iLead Charter Schools. We're joined now by our daily guest, Christina Debre. She is a licensed marriage and family therapist here in Valencia. She's got a remarkable story of her own, being diagnosed with cystic fibrosis after just a couple of weeks of life. Christina grew up socially distanced. She grew up dealing with trauma and the unexpected, and that concern that that tragedy is around every corner. And it's beautiful because Christina could have used that experience to pull within herself and live a life of fear and trembling, but she chose to take that experience and flip it inside out and use it as a catalyst for a life of service to the rest of us. And she went out to Cal State Northridge and then Pepperdine University to get her degrees. And she's got her practice, as I said, right here in Valencia. She specializes in those things that we're going through right now: trauma and phobias, attachment disorders, suicide prevention, grief, child and adolescent interventions, which has kind of been a theme that's run throughout the show today. She's got more than 18 years of speaking experience with medical professionals, businesses, organizations, schools, parents. Christina, welcome back in. Good morning.
Good morning.
You know, I know you were listening to last break when I asked our speech pathologist how we should talk to kids. And, you know, I thought she was a school psychologist. It was just a flaw, I think, in our phone connection. And so, Debbie, how should we talk to our kids? Well, slowly and enunciate, it should have been her answer, but she really nailed it. But now, let's talk to someone who specializes in how to help our kids cope with trauma and things like that. Christina, things are so stressful right now. We've got civil unrest that is just the next layer on top of everything else that's been going on. Our kids are living through times that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. So how do we help our kids cope? How do we talk to them? How do we help them process everything that's going on right now?
Well, I think it's, it looks different for, kids of different ages and for different families. But generally, what I think is important is, and we've talked about this before, is putting your own oxygen mask on first. This is difficult for all of us. This is overwhelming information. It's difficult to process. We can experience the vicarious trauma of watching these videos. It's very upsetting to watch. Mm-hmm. And so we really need to take care of ourselves first. So before you talk to your kids, bring yourself to a place of calm first. Don't talk to them when you're, in a state of rage or hysterically crying or having a panic attack. You want to first get yourself to, as much to a place of calm as we can be really in this time. So you can ground yourself. You can, call a friend. You can reach out to a mental health professional. And then once you're there, based on what age your kid or kids are, it's going to be different. So for little kids, like babies and toddlers, they aren't really going to understand what's going on. So, but they might be able to pick up whatever the vibe is. So if it's a lot of anger and rage, they're absorbing that and they can recognize that that's scary and not safe. So I think the challenge is right now with COVID, and we're still all at home with everyone, we want to watch the news as adults and we want to understand what's going on. So finding creative ways to do that without exposing your kids to that. So waiting until they go to bed or putting earbuds in so that you can listen to the radio or a live feed so that your kids aren't listening to that as well. So you just put one earbud in one ear and then, so then you can still hear on the other ear what your family is doing. You can also just watch things on your phone and just really trying to limit what your kids are seeing. For the younger kids, like preschool age and elementary school, you can explain it to them in a more age-appropriate way. People are feeling hurt. People are, some people were being mean to other people, things like that, and focus more on the, how do you think that person was feeling? So if they see an image of a protester or someone that's looting, how do you think that person's feeling? Because then you're helping your kid develop empathy and understand another's perspective. And just know that, I mentioned this yesterday, is it's so easy for us to want to say, oh, I don't want my kids to see any of this. And so, parents just gloss it over. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just, some people are behaving badly and they're going to get in trouble or something like that. The problem is if you sugarcoat it or if you throw it under the rug, then the kids are going to go elsewhere.
Sure.
When I really saw this was I used to give suicide talks at the local high schools. And, I would ask the kids, raise your hand if an adult has ever talked to you about suicide. And in a class of 30, I'd maybe get like one or two kids that raised their hand. And then I would say, how many of you have seen the show 13 Reasons? And every single one of those kids raised their hand. And so what stands out to me about that
for our
is,
listeners, Christina, 13 Reasons is a television series that the basic premise of the series is a young lady who had committed suicide.
Yes. And so to me, what was so shocking about that is that, it's a television show, it's a Netflix series, and it's, now those kids are getting the information from that. So, I really wanted the kids to have reliable information because some of the information's correct, but, some of it's not, and it's entertainment. And so this is going to be the problem now, is that kids are going to find things on YouTube. Kids are going to talk to their peers. They're going to be on TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram and whatever social media platforms that they utilize. And so even though we think, hey, we're, sheltering our kids from this, they are still exposed. We live in this world where everything is accessible for everyone. And so just having an open conversation and throwing it out there to your kids like, hey, I just want to talk about everything that's going on right now. Like, what have you heard? What have you seen? And kind of gauge where they're at and what their response is.
So we as parents basically just need to be that filter for our kids. And if we choose not to engage, our kids are still getting all that information. It's just like you said, like with other topics like suicide, sex education. If we as parents choose not to engage, that just means we're not allowing our children to have that information filtered through us, which is why we're there. So like Christina said, just to sum up, get yourself right and in a good state so that you're not emotional or panicky yourself, and then step in, be that filter for your kids, talk to them. And again, if you need support in helping get yourself in that good place, or if your children need a little bit more support than you're able to provide, please reach out to your healthcare provider and get that mental health care that we all need. Or you can contact Christina directly. She's going to give you a free 15-minute phone consultation. Give her a call at 661-513-4857. 661-513-4857. Go to her website at ChristinaDebre.com. It is posted here on the Facebook Live link here at KHTS Radio. That is all the time that we have for today. I want to thank Christina so much for joining us and helping us get through these difficult times. I want to thank our other guests as well, Mayor Cameron Smythe, as well as Debbie from the Assistance League of Santa Clarita, with all the wonderful things that they are doing for our children in and around our community. You're listening to SCVI Charter Schools Eye on the Valley, Homeschooling Answers. I'm your host, Matt Watson, and this is your hometown station, KHTS.